Here's another big story that just happened a little while ago, and here is Jamie, who's going to be joining us to talk to us about this particular story in what is really a shocking announcement that we learned of just this afternoon. It appears that beginning in January, Boeing will stop producing the 737 MAX 8, stop production of this controversial plane. Now, the repercussions of this announcement, and this is the reason we're covering this for you, they're huge. I mean, economically, think about it. Vendors, thousands of people affected by companies associated with the manufacturing of this giant airliner, right? Joining us now is Jamie Finch, former NTSB official, to talk about this. This really could be a huge story.
It is a huge story. I mean, this is something that has been the nightmare that Boeing's been trying to avoid the entire time. This is why they've had this PR campaign going on the entire time to keep their investors calmed down and settled.
Yeah, like we'll get through this. Don't worry.
We'll get through this and so forth. But right now, the investors have had enough. They're very frustrated with Boeing, and they've had enough. And the stocks took a 4% hit today during the day, and is down another percent after hours.
So let's try and understand what this means, right? Yeah. From a rudimentary level, it means this plane is an absolute unmitigated failure. It's going the way of the Etzel.
It is. That's a good comparison, actually, quite honestly. It is one of those things that once it gets a bad reputation, and they have not done anything to help themselves, but this thing has such a bad reputation now that the traveling public is not wanting to fly it. Even if they get the thing certified and they get it up in the air and it's going again within the airlines, even the public is trying to opt out of having to fly on this plane.
And you mentioned earlier when we were first talking about this that there's a lot of little guys that are going to get hit by this.
Absolutely.
It's not the big guys. They're going to keep working at Boeing.
Yeah.
The little guys, the vendors,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but there's about 12,000 employees at Boeing that are going to be affected by this, but they're not going to furlough or fire any of those folks.
For now.
For right now. They're going to be moved around within the company. Now, with that, I mean, there's only so long that even a company the size of Boeing can be carrying 12,000 extra employees that aren't, kind of shifting.
Who have nothing to do, right?
Now shift that over to the smaller people, the smaller suppliers they're the part suppliers for these aircraft that are not just in the U.S. but around the world. Mm-hmm. They don't have those deep pockets that Boeing has. They don't have the financial cushion that Boeing has.
So you're talking about an economic hit.
Yeah.
This is an economic story that's going to affect a lot of working people in America.
Yeah, it's going to affect. It's not just the working people too. They're going to delay purchases. They're going to draw in their budget strings. Mm-hmm. They're going to be not buying new cars. They're not going to be buying a lot of meals outside of the home. They're going to be really tightening their strings, the economic strings and purse strings, and making sure that they can get through this period.
And these are, again, explain to us, these are contract workers who have jobs associated with the manufacturing of this airliner. Airliner goes away, their jobs go away.
Right. Well, these are workers that work for suppliers. That are working for the various subcontractors and so forth. But also on top of that, Boeing has their own union employees that are going to be represented. They're going to have, but eventually, even Boeing's not going to be able to carry those people.
But what about the planes that are out there now? Okay, they're not going to make new planes, but they still have all these planes sitting on runways.
They have 400.
What the hell's going to happen to these things?
They have 400 of them sitting on parking lots all around.
Each one of them worth what? I mean, what did it cost to build these things?
They run somewhere about $75 million.
From R&D all the way up.
Oh no! Well, yeah, but
it would be even more if you include.
It's according to what kind of options you get on and so forth.
So are they going to eat these planes? I mean,
no, they're sitting there. They're just waiting for those planes to be for the plane to be recertified so they can get them back in the air.
But when is that going to happen, Jamie?
We have no idea. It could be late spring. It could be early summer. We have no idea, but what we do know is that the FAA has been very, very clear. They are not going to be working on Boeing's timeline. They are working on their own timeline and a safety timeline.
This is just getting ridiculous. How long does it take to come up with a patch for this fix for this screw up?
I want to point out this is where you always see a screw up. Whenever you see people that are rushing to either get something out on the market too quickly or a product out too quickly, and then there's repercussions that happen. When you rush a situation, when you rush a product out on the market before it's ready, you always run into trouble.
That's why we have regulators and regulations.
Right, which has had its own problems in the last few weeks too.
I'll tell you what, great stuff. Jamie, thanks for bringing us this.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming into my office this afternoon and saying, hey, there's a big story with Boeing.
You're welcome.
I'm glad we were able to turn it around. So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan, let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Huawei, Huawei, Huawei. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.